The 90s were actually a pretty good time for horror. Yeah, there was schlock, lots of it. But there were also real gems that hit harder than most modern scares. In this series, we play by one simple rule. If you could save only one horror movie from each year of a decade, which ones would make the cut? Here are my picks. And once you've seen them all, tell me yours in the comments. Misery has always been terrifying, mostly because of Kathy Bates's Oscar-winning performance as Annie Wilkes, an obsessive fan who keeps her favorite author, Paul Sheldon, trapped in her home. When Stephen King wrote the novel in 1987, he couldn't have known how real this story would feel later. Today, toxic fandom is everywhere. We've seen the outrage over The Last Jedi and the campaigns to remake Game of Thrones, with some fans even attacking actors and writers online. With social media making it easy to spread anger and obsession, Annie Wilkes feels less like fiction and more like something that could happen now. Misery seems even more realistic and frightening than it did in 1990. Some will say The Silence of the Lambs isn't horror because it doesn't feel like one. It's a thriller, a character study, a look at toxic masculinity and its dangers, even a dark comedy at times. But it's also genuinely terrifying, not only because of Hannibal Lecter, but because of Buffalo Bill. That Clarice Starling manages to survive all this and come out stronger is strangely inspiring for a film this dark. And it's worth remembering that The Silence of the Lambs won 5 Oscars in the most prestigious categories, something rare not just for horror, but for any film. For 1992, I went with Dead Alive, though Candyman made that choice harder than I expected. Before The Lord of the Rings made Peter Jackson famous, his work already had solid roots in horror. Dead Alive is a wild, funny, and shockingly bloody film about a man named Lionel and his overbearing mother. When she's bitten by a Sumatran rat monkey, she turns into a zombie and starts infecting everyone around her: family, neighbors, even the family dog. The film quickly turns into a chaotic, over-the-top bloodbath, filled with creative practical effects and absurd levels of violence. It's gross, funny, and somehow still charming. The kind of movie no major studio would dare make today. And outside of this list, I'd easily put it at the very top of the best gory movies of all time. For 1993, we have Fire in the Sky. If you've never seen it, most of the film doesn't feel like horror, at least not until the final act. It follows a group of loggers whose friend, Travis Walton, disappears after a strange light appears in the woods. The others are treated as suspects in a possible murder until Travis reappears 5 days later. The movie is slow and methodical, leaving you uncertain whether Travis really was taken and experimented on by something extraterrestrial, at least until you reach the third act. Since Fire in the Sky never got the attention it deserves, and many people still haven't seen it, I'll avoid spoiling too much. But believe me, if you're ready for true horror, you're in for one of the most disturbing and effective scenes ever filmed. For that scene alone, it deserves a place on this list. In the Mouth of Madness is John Carpenter's most philosophical horror, the final chapter of his Apocalypse trilogy after The Thing and Prince of Darkness. When it hit theaters in 1994, it flopped at the box office and critics didn't quite know what to make of it, though today it feels far ahead of its time. The story follows insurance investigator John Trent, played by Sam Neill, who's sent to find a missing horror writer, Sutter Kane, an author whose books seem to drive readers insane. The deeper Trent goes, the less certain reality becomes, until the line between fiction and the real world completely dissolves. Lovecraftian imagery runs through the film, a quiet New England town hiding monstrous cults, portals to other dimensions, and creatures waiting to reclaim the world. Carpenter blurs dreams and reality, fact and fiction, until everything collapses into one. The film ends with the narrator sitting in a cinema, watching in the mouth of madness as reality falls apart, a story that quite literally devours itself. In my humble opinion, 1995 gave us one of the best films, if not of all time, then certainly of the 90s. After the failure of Alien 3, few expected David Fincher to come back this strong. But Seven proved otherwise. The film follows two detectives, Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman, and Mills, played by Brad Pitt, as they hunt a serial killer who murders according to the 7 deadly sins. Its rain-soaked city, grim tone, and refusal to offer comfort became a style many tried to imitate in the later crime thrillers and TV. There's nothing supernatural here, no ghosts, no monsters, and you don't need jump scares for this kind of horror. It's enough to watch people face the worst parts of human nature. I don't want to be original here. For 1996, it has to be Scream. It might not be the best horror movie of the decade, but it's definitely the one that defined it. Scream captures the spirit of the 90s perfectly. Ironic, pop culture obsessed, and fully aware of its own tricks. Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson gave us characters who knew every horror rule, but that didn't make them any safer. And killing off Drew Barrymore, the film's biggest star, in the first 10 minutes still feels bold even today. It's funny, tense, and sharper than it has any right to be. Skeet Ulrich might be dated, but this movie sure isn't. There were several great horror films in 1997, Event Horizon among them, but in the end, I chose Cube. Ever since it came out, there have been countless retellings of the strangers trapped in a deadly maze story. Some of them may have been bigger or flashier, but Cube remains special for the balance it found between tension, mystery, and simplicity. The film tests each character's flaws and strengths while working within a tiny budget. It never wastes time explaining who built the cube or why. And that turns out to be its smartest choice. The less you know, the scarier it gets. In 1998, The Ring put Japanese horror on the global map and started a wave of Asian horror remakes that took over the early 2000s, though that's not necessarily a good thing. You, of course, know the story. People watch a strange videotape, get a phone call, and are told they have 7 days left to live. When the time is up, Sadako comes for them, and that moment still stands as one of the most frightening images in horror. Yes, the remake was quite good, and compared to it, the original may feel slower, but it's still damn scary, and its scares are more subtle. We've reached the end of the list, and while many would probably give their vote to the Blair Witch Project, here it will be The Sixth Sense. M. Night Shyamalan may be a controversial director now, but there's no denying that in 1999, The Sixth Sense was a phenomenon. It dominated the box office, earning over $670 million worldwide, second only to The Phantom Menace. Audiences were stunned by its twist, a reveal so powerful that many saw the film twice just to re-watch every scene in a new light. We all know the film's secret by now, but it remains endlessly watchable. The haunting score, the understated performances, the eerie cinematography. This movie still gives everyone the creeps. The film also changed the industry itself. Studios realized they could make more money by building atmosphere and suggestion instead of relying on violence or shock. That shift opened the door for a wave of PG-13 horror in the 2000s. But that's something we'll get to another time.